Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. Turns out I'm not as great at tech as I thought I was, but I'm so excited for episode of Where to Wheelock, where I have the beautiful Lisa Godin with us. She is in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which I, to be honest with you, know nothing about except for Route 66, and I know nothing about that except for the name. So I'm so excited for you to join me today. Lisa, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, Erin. It's so good to see you. I'm excited and honored to be on this episode of Where to Wheelock. So much fun to watch you travel around the world. Sure. I formed my company with Keller Williams. Piece of the Planet Properties actually was formed in 2009, and I joined Keller Williams as a realtor for the first time, working with other people in January of 2018. So for the first few years, it was just for our own real estate investments. And then I started, after my baby went to college, to actually work in the field and in the business. So I'm just coming to the end of my third year, let's see, 18, 19, 20, third year. So, and love the work, and have always been here in the Albuquerque area as a realtor for the last 3 years. But I moved here originally from Rhode Island 29 years ago. So I've been in New Mexico for a long time. In Albuquerque, most of that time I lived in Santa Fe for the first 4 years that I lived here. So I also worked the Santa Fe market, and love this central New Mexico area, north central area. So. Well,
very, very cool. All right. So to start this off, I have to know who's moving to Albuquerque?
Who's living in Albuquerque? Who's moving here?
Who's moving there? Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very multicultural area, and has long been. We have people here from many different cultures. Being so close to the Mexican border, we have quite a lot of the Spanish culture and an influence. We also have a lot of Native American cultures here in New Mexico, so quite a bit of that. As far as who lives here and is moving here currently, it's always been a beacon for artists. Your Georgia O'Keeffe's and other painters because of the beautiful scenery, jewelry artists because of all the beautiful turquoise and stones and whatnot, and the art in Santa Fe. But right now we also have Netflix had decided to name this their hub, to name New Mexico and particularly Albuquerque their hub. So a lot of film and movies and entertainment in general, we see a lot of movement there. Universal Studios is here, Netflix is here, and so quite a lot of people in the entertainment industry. We also have a big a lot of scientists in the area because of the national labs. Defense is big in New Mexico as well. Los Alamos Labs up north, but right here in Albuquerque, Sandia Labs and Kirtland Air Force Base. So we also have that. I have a number of scientists that I've served as well. So artists and scientists,
That's
I guess.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Artists, scientists, movie people. I literally had no idea. That's amazing. Awesome. Okay, so if someone's thinking about, I should rephrase this. For me, if I was thinking about moving to Albuquerque, the first thing that I would think about is the temperature, and the lifestyle. To me, it's a very deserty lifestyle, very outdoors, but you also want to stay inside in the AC. Like, what is the lifestyle about there? And what are kind of the different areas of Albuquerque?
Actually. Yeah, it's actually not bad at all. Yeah. So another population that would be moving here and we see coming this way are seniors as a retirement area, but not necessarily because the temperature is super warm. We're actually not like Phoenix. And so a lot of people think of us, because we are the desert, as a hot climate. You always have to be indoors with air conditioning. My home is an adobe house, and we'll talk a little bit more about construction, but thick bricks.
Yeah.
I don't even have air conditioning. So and I have.
Okay, wait. Do you don't have air conditioning? This isn't Europe. This is
No,
New Mexico.
no.
You just joined us.
That's
We're not
right.
in Europe. She doesn't have air conditioning, but it's New Mexico.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, the temperature here is really very temperate, and you know we're high. We're 5,000 square feet. Or 5,000 feet. Mile High City is supposed to be Denver, but it's not. It's us. It's Santa Fe. You know, we're actually high desert. So the mountains, and even here in the valley, we're very comfortably temperature-wise. So summertime, maybe we'll hit 100, but not very often. And in the wintertime, you can be outside even right now with a t-shirt, a long sleeve shirt in the winter. I have seen it as low as -7 degrees. That's Fahrenheit, not Celsius, but that's so rare. It is desert though. So in the daytime, you know, we might be 70 degrees, and at nighttime we might be 30. So there's a big difference at night. And so that's in part why even in the summertime, we don't need to have the air conditioning in some areas, and depending on your house and construction. So the adobe bricks that the older homes and even some of the more luxury homes are built with retain the heat, retain the cold. I can open my windows at night, let that nice cool night desert air in, and then in the daytime shut it down and just use passive cooling. Otherwise, we use swamp coolers a lot here. We call them swamp coolers. Evaporative cooling rather than refrigerated air is not uncommon here in New Mexico in general.
Did you say swamp cooling?
Yes, yeah, it's a swamp cooler is what we call it. Well, because
everyone needs to know, what is swamp cooling?
So it's evaporative cooler. It's an evaporative cooler, but we refer to them as swamp coolers. The way it works is that you basically blow air over water the water is on the pads in the unit, and you're just blowing air over it into the house. It only works when you're in a dry climate. If it's too humid, and sometimes here it will get during our rainy season in July, August or something, you might get to where it's a little too humid for the swamp cooler to be working real well. But I may have used my cooler 5 times this year, so not very often at all. And and yeah, that's how it works. And so you keep open a window, and it's passive cooling, or
So I want to get into the construction of the home. So before we get there, what is like the lifestyle of living there? Is it very outdoorsy? Is it more early nights? Is it more going out? What are the different types of lifestyles that you get if you move to Albuquerque?
Well, because of the temperate climate, we do have a big outdoor, activity, and the city is set up to encourage that, with bike paths and trails and along the roadways, as well as along the river, up along the mountains and the foothills. So you see people out all year long, walking, biking, running, skateboarding, whatever they might be doing. In terms of nightlife, along Route 66 and Nob Hill, there's some great walkable areas to be able to be out walking and shopping. We do have, some outdoor malls and things like that. But, we're spread out somewhat, and the transportation system here, you're mostly driving to get from place to place. We don't have a really great, there's no subway system. There's no, we do have a bus system, but it's not terrific. They keep promising, we call it the ART, Albuquerque Rapid Transit, and someday we'll have rapid transit in Albuquerque and more mass transit. But right now, mostly people are driving from place to place, or biking. Actually, I know quite a few people who bike to work and take that kind of approach. So, but we have the river, and so some people love the mountains. Other people love the river valley, and we do have snow here. So I know you're thinking it's hot and sunny all the time. It is sunny, and the snow will melt pretty quickly when we do get it. But the mountain is 13,000 feet high, you know, so I keep thinking in square feet, you know. So we do have a nice ski basin, and people ski and winter sports as well as summer. This year has been interesting. I haven't seen as many people on the river ever as I have this year, because they couldn't go anyplace else during COVID.
Yeah.
And so there were people, you know, paddle boarding and tubing and all kinds of things on the river here in Albuquerque that I hadn't really seen much of before. So.
You know, I'm just curious because it seems like Albuquerque has so much to offer people. Have you found that over the years it's become more of like a vacation spot? Do people buy second homes there?
We do have that population coming here and in this area, either for second homes for half of the year. Like I've had some clients who live in a hotter climate, like in Houston, or, you know, hot, humid summertime. They spend their summers here instead. Or, you know, Phoenix and places like that, they'll come here for the summer and be here during that time. But it's still a little too cold for them here in the winter time. So they'll go back to those places, you know. Go ahead.
No, I'm so excited for the screen share. You guys, I'm so sorry, but Lisa gave me a little preview of what you're all going to see. So I'm excited to get into that. But yeah, it does seem like Albuquerque had a lot more to offer, or has a lot more to offer people than what I thought of just a great big desert for all of us to go.
Well, you know, I wanted to show first a little bit of the development. You know, over the years, this is how Albuquerque developed, was starting, of course, like many cities along the river, like cities that have that kind of body of water. This is where it began to develop. And along this area, east to west here, you see this is Central Avenue, also known as Route 66, which comes right through Albuquerque. And I meant to take a picture or get, you know, download a picture of the neon lights. I think you're all pretty familiar with the, you know, you can picture it in your mind anyway, the neon lights of Central in Albuquerque, of Route 66, so from back in the 60s and 70s or earlier. So that's kind of how it developed. And this is, of course, the sprawl that we have today. Albuquerque city limits themselves kind of look like this. We have
can you point out on there? Okay, so that's the river. That's where we were, Route 66, with your mouse. Okay, so that's what we were showing.
So Route 66 is right here. You see Nob Hill. Nob Hill is where you will. I could find you a picture, and I can do that. All the neon lights of Nob Hill. I wish I had taken one down, but maybe I can find one quickly and show you. But that's right near where the University of New Mexico is. So this is Route 66 that comes straight through here. It was replaced, as you all know, with Interstate 40, which, you know, travels this way here. But the old Route 66 coming through town would come right through here and then continue on west to California, right? So, so that's this area here. So it was pretty much an L shape when it was originally developed, because that's where everything was happening. But it's been expanded considerably, as you can see. So the city limits are here in the gray. And then we have little pockets within there, like Los Ranchos to Albuquerque here, which is not technically Albuquerque. It's part of the North Valley, which is one of our more affluent areas and older areas. Okay. But the Albuquerque also includes some other areas right outside of Albuquerque, which you couldn't really talk about Albuquerque without talking about them. Rio Rancho. Many of you hear this, people talking about Rio Rancho, especially in the East. There was a period of time when land was sold in Rio Rancho, and there's still a lot of those parcels of land out there right now. It is developing more and more. These would be some of the lower price points in homes out in this area, out in the bedroom community like of Rio Rancho. Corrales here is more farmland. This is going to be higher higher priced homes, bigger lots, acres and more in this area in Corrales. And also Placitas up here would also be considered another area that that would be between here and Santa Fe, and still an easy commute into Albuquerque of 25 minutes. So you can be outside of the city limits and get in fairly easily. One thing we don't have much of here, I'm going to knock on something, is traffic. People come from LA, California, wherever, New York, the East Coast, the West Coast, and they don't mind going out here to Cedar Crest out, on the east side of the mountains here. You can't, again, talk about Albuquerque without talking about the East Mountains, because it's not part of the city limits, but a lot of people live out here for the quietness, for the dark night skies. I mean, it's beautiful. And this is how you would access the ski basin, is off of this road here, off of 14, which is the Turquoise Trail that goes from I-40 up to Santa Fe, one of the ways.
Okay.
That, instead of I-25, you used to take the Turquoise Trail. So I-25 now, but it used to be this route here. And so this area is another area that you can't, you really would consider, because it may take you 45 minutes to get from Sandia Park into, the center of town. But it's a beautiful drive, and it doesn't really take much time, or you're not fighting traffic all the way, whereas you could take that long to get a couple of miles. Right, exactly. So you can come here, and you don't have to feel like you need to live in the city to still have a fairly easy commute around. Does that make sense?
So what is the price point? I'm curious. If we're looking at this map, what are we looking at in terms of price points between, like, in the city limits, if you're closer to the mountain? I know you said that Rio Rancho is going to be a little bit less, but what is that difference?
Yeah, so, it's going to vary considerably throughout the city. So, this area here, the North Valley and Rio Rancho, some of the medium price point there is going to be about $314, average about $411 right now. And, the average home price, or average home price, I guess, in Albuquerque is about $280, median about $240. But it really varies quite a bit depending on where you are. So downtown, go ahead.
And how big is that, just out of curiosity? So when we're saying, like,
about 2,000.
That's the average.
About 2,000 square feet is
2,000 square feet
is considered the typical median home size. So it's about 2,000 square feet. So
I love that. Okay. See, this is why I asked, because I'm like, median home, it's probably like, 900 square feet. 2,000 square feet? Whew. I'm ready. Tell me more.
Okay. As you get downtown here, so downtown, Old Town, let me zoom in a little bit. So we'll travel around the map here a little bit. North Valley, Los Ranchos, as I said, these are going to be some of your older homes. But you'll have, in the valley, it's very interesting, you'll have 100-year-old adobe house next to a brand new something, that because somebody tore down, an older home, or because a family owned large acres, many acres of land, and then they subdivided it and built on them over time. So you could just as easily have something that could be a tear down next to a mansion,
wow.
In these areas. Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's hard to find comps sometimes, but but we do. You come down here into the downtown area, Old Town area of Albuquerque, and the price point is going to drop a little bit here. Median about $198, average $236. You can still buy a home in Albuquerque for under $200,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home even.
Wow.
Different areas of the city. Nob Hill, as we travel then up that Route 66, coming through here, the University of, so here's downtown. You would come from downtown east to the university area. Here you'll have more of the multifamily homes, not so much, we do have maybe about 100 residential income homes on the property, on the market right now. Most of them are going to be 2 to 4 bedroom, 2 to 4 unit homes, not much bigger than that. Maybe a third of them will be larger than that currently available. And you see a fair number of those kinds of homes where maybe somebody lives in the main home, and we have casitas on a lot of our properties. So this would be the guest house. We call them casitas. We use Spanish words for a lot of things. And so you may see a casita on the property that they'll rent out or something. So this is the Route 66. That area in the university, probably more like 315 medium price, 340, something like that. The more walkable area is going to be here. Most of what's along the river are going to be more spread out, especially in the North Valley. So not a lot of walkable area right along the river, though along 4th Street, most of this area are numbered streets. And so, from, 1st to, I don't know what the biggest number would be, but 12th would be the most main number. Along some of the numbered streets, you do have a little more walkability and business and things like that. Northeast Heights is probably...
Like it's going to be a lot of walkability around like the university, right? That seems pretty typical.
Right. And here in the valley along, 2nd Street, 4th Street, you have some of that. Some of the higher end homes, a lot of the higher end homes you're going to find up here in this northeastern quadrant of the city, in North Albuquerque Acres, Sandia Heights, the foothills north. Here, median maybe 650. Average price about 675 in North Albuquerque Acres. Is
that not because of the land that you're getting or the view of the mountain? What's really dictating that price going up so much?
In North Albuquerque Acres, it's definitely acreage that adds to that. But the homes are newer also, right? Mm-hmm. So you have bigger homes, homes that are on bigger lots of land, and and newer with amenities that, and features that would be more considered luxury price point. In terms of luxury, your main areas for luxury are going to be this northeast quadrant here, the North Valley and Los Ranchos. Corrales here, just to the west. So if you're on the west side of the river, it would be here in Corrales, and maybe even the West River Valley along here.
What is making it luxury? Is it just the acreage, or is it the style of home? Is it the amenities that the home has? What really kind of makes it luxury? Size?
Well, so size, yes. Also amenities. The style, interestingly enough, the style of the homes is going to be fairly similar. Here in New Mexico, we favor, I would say, our Pueblo style of homes, and if I were to share another screen real quick, I'll come back to this one, but you can't see this much, but and I could find another picture someplace, but you can see it, they're square Pueblo style, like that. Yeah. And this is just, you had asked something about trends at one point, and I was just going to mention that we started this trend, the farolitos, as we call them in the luminarias or farolitos, as we call them in Santa Fe for Christmas time. These lights, you see them around the country now, but they were really this was something that we started. It came from Mexico, really. But okay, wait, where was I going? But you can see the square style of home. Yeah. Get back to my map.
It reminds me of the home in Can't Buy Me Love. one of my
I
favorite
didn't see
movies.
that. No, I didn't see that.
So good.
Maybe I'll have to check it out. But yeah, size, amenities, price point here, luxury is considered anything over 500,000.
Okay.
We probably have, let's see, about 250 homes right now on the market that would be over that 500 price point. So first of all, we're extremely low in inventory. This is the first time I've seen it under like 1,200 homes available on the market right now. It's crazy.
How many do you have?
Crazy low.
We'll give you some inventory. Come take some of our units. We have too many. We'll give them to you in Albuquerque. Take them away.
It's unbelievable. About 250 of those are over that 500 price point. And I would say, about 60 or so, maybe over $1 million.
Wow.
So,
okay.
What was I going to say? So in terms of price point, yeah, but there are still, like I said to you earlier, places that you can buy a house here for under 200,000. And some of those areas, here on in the Southeast Heights area, you can still buy a home in the Southeast Heights for 175,000, a decent, even 2-story, 3-4 bedroom home. So,
nice. So
Rio
if
Rancho.
If I were moving there for work, and I'm new to Albuquerque, what neighborhoods would you suggest I look into? Obviously, they're going to call you and talk to you about it, but are there like certain neighborhoods that you feel like are good for like newer comers?
It's going to depend on what you like. I mean, first of all, I pulled a couple of pictures. It's going to depend. Do you like this view of the mountain? Here's the mountain and the river.
Right now.
Yes. I mean, this is the view from the west side. The west side homes are, by and large, you can find a home, more home than for a lower price on the west side than you can on the east side of Albuquerque, and that's the east side of the river that I'm referring to, not so much the east side of 25. So you've got these two dividers through the city. You've got the river, and then east of there you've got 25. It's easy enough to get west of 25. It can be a little more difficult to get west of the river during commute times. Of course, right now everybody's staying home and a lot more people working from home. So, but we only have a few bridges that cross the river. So if you are, if you're living on that west side, it's best if you're working on that west side, or if you're working, your hours are opposite of the traditional traffic, right? So that's the one. But the views are incredible from there, as you can see from here.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, because you can now, from here, you can see the river, you can see the city and the mountain. If you're up in the foothills, if you're up in this area around here, this is where I was saying North Albuquerque Acres, Sandia Heights. If you're living in your beautiful luxury home up here, you're able to see the mountains, yes, but further back to, the city, but the mountain is behind you for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And so,
so interesting. I like this view.
So it really depends on which, and of course then there's the balloons. I was going to show you some of the balloons as well. It depends on if you want to be on the east side or the west side, first of all, and then what kind of price point you're talking about. Because there are I live in the North Valley. I live, around here someplace. Okay. Oh, maybe that's me. That could be me. It is. So, so I love the Valley personally. It's what speaks to my heart. Being from the Northeast, I like the green. I like the, the water. It's much more deserty as you get east. So,
Got it. Okay. Well, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. The trends. Actually, what is the name of that again? The lanterns?
Oh, well, they call them luminarias. You've seen these at Christmas time, I'm sure. You've seen luminarias at Christmas time? No?
We don't. I live in New York City. We don't see anything except for trees and Hanukkah candles. Luminarias. This is very
Luminarias, yeah. And I've seen them all over the country now. They do them in Florida and in New England.
Yeah.
They do them in other places. In Santa Fe, we call them farolitos, little lights.
Farolitos.
Yeah. So,
Okay, farolitos.
little fires.
Okay.
So yeah, kind of Christmas decor happening here now.
Yeah. So what is the transaction like then? So, you know, if somebody is thinking about moving there, like how long does it usually take to go from accepted offer to closed?
Well, obviously it depends on if you need a loan or not, but let's assume you're needing a loan right now because of the market is so hot, probably need a good 45 days. Sometimes we can go a little shorter than that. And it's not just the lender, it's also that the inspectors are backed up and the appraisers are backed up. You absolutely must order the appraisal once you go under contract. We used to be able to wait until, you know, we get through the inspection period. So first couple of weeks, you know, usually it's written in specifically. You're not given a specific amount of time. It's put into the purchase agreement. I want these many days or until this date to cure these contingencies as far as inspections go, and then we would get through that and then order the appraisal. You cannot do that right now. You must order the appraisal right away because it's taking weeks to get them in sometimes.
And do you use attorneys?
No, we don't. Not by and large. The only time you're using attorneys is if there's a real estate contract or something like that. Mostly, it's realtors, brokers on either side, and at a title company. So.
Okay. So I guess that is another reason why it's just so important to have the right real estate agent in your corner that knows to order the inspection right away with you and advise you on the appraisal and all of these different things, because otherwise, you know, you could be at that river without a paddle waiting to close and very behind schedule if you're not being appropriately guided.
And I am an independent agent, if you will. I mean, I really don't like the word independent much because I think we are all somewhat tied together. You know, we are all a network, but I operate right now as an independent agent, supported. So I do have a transaction coordinator that helps keep all of those balls in the air and everything timely. So yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, what else should people know about Albuquerque before I let you get back to your insanely busy market?
Well, let's see. I don't know. I guess the Balloon Fiesta is another big draw here. Those of you who have not heard of the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta, I don't know how you you don't know anything about the Balloon Fiesta?
No.
This is
my
the
amazing
largest.
Administrator put together the photos smartly with that balloon, with the balloons on it, but I don't know what it's about. Tell me.
Okay, so this is the largest balloon fiesta in the world, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. I should know how many years. I want to say it's over 100 years old, I think. I could be wrong about that. But, you know, every year, the first and second weekend of October, we've had 1,000 balloons, I'm sure, at a time. And you can see this is Balloon Fiesta Field here. It's a big draw. So it's the first 2 weekends of October and the weekend between. And people come from all over the world with their balloons or to watch balloons. And we have day after day, there are different activities with it. You can drive, you'll be driving to work in the morning and there's just balloons filling the skies of
everywhere.
All different shapes. You see some basic shapes, but you'll see, you see this pig here and there's an Indian
Humpty Dumpty.
A Humpty. Yeah, there's I don't know where my mouse is right now, but yeah, you see a bee, and there's just a bunch of different special shapes. We'll have a special shape rodeo or a glodio at night, where they just light up. There's a big, you can see it. It's pretty spectacular.
So cool.
So, come see the Balloon Fiesta sometime. It's a busy time of year, of course. This is the first time that they've canceled it because of COVID. We had to cancel this year. but it still did go on, but no spectators. We did have some balloonists still here and launching, but no spectators this year. But I've seen them land in fields, right as you're driving down the road. There they are, landing in a field next to you, and it's pretty spectacular. So a lot of fun.
Yeah. No. Oh, those bees are so cute.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, that is definitely a great draw for this city.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, anything else that we should know besides how beautiful it is there?
I'm sure there is something. They talk about Montana being big sky country. To me, so coming from the Northeast, I lived at the ocean. I lived across the street from the beach, and that's been the hardest thing for me, is to not see the ocean on a regular basis. We are landlocked here, and the river is great, but it's not the same. Tingley Beach is really not the beach to me. But the sky has become like my ocean. It's really spectacular the way, I'm going to stop sharing here. You can look out and it's just so vast and really beautiful.
Yeah.
And how Florida got the Sunshine State when we have 360 literally days of sunshine. I haven't used an umbrella, I don't know how long. So it's a great place.
Yeah.
Come visit, call me, I'll show you around. I love to show people my city. So
I love it. Well, and everyone, if you do want to get in touch with Lisa, I would be so happy to put you in touch. She's such a wonderful human, on top of being a professional that you can count on, and is going to be reliable and trustworthy and honest with you and help you. She's just also such an amazing, wonderful human being. So I look forward to putting many, many people in touch with you. And thank you so much for sharing your city with us.
You're so sweet. Thank you, Erin. I love what you're doing, and it's just been great to travel around the world with you and to have met you in France to begin with, So.
I know, right?
Places to go.
So, but
thank you.
One day we'll have to meet somewhere again. I love it. All right. Well, thank you for your time, and everyone. Yeah.
And I'd love to talk Santa Fe at some point in the future too, because Santa Fe is the city different. It's very different than Albuquerque. So another time.
We'll definitely have to have that. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Well, besides Santa Fe, everybody let me know where we should go next.
Bye.